Good evening, class. Welcome back to the economics class. So we had completed or we had started the topic poverty. Poverty, as you know, in simple words, we can explain poverty as incapability. It is absence or inability to get the required or minimum things like minimum calories, minimum earning. Okay. So far we had studied about or we had taken into consideration two cases. One was of Ram Saran, another one was of Lakhan Singh. Okay. Both of them we studied the case wherein we saw the problems of these two persons, Ram Saran and Lakhan Singh. Ram Saran live in a urban place in a city, and Lakhan Singh, he is doing job in a rural area or working as a landless worker. After studying the above case, we saw the problems. Okay, we saw the various issues related to poverty like landlessness. In both the cases, there were some common things or common points that we know as landlessness means no asset. Both the people did not possess any asset like land which can be used for production purpose or which can be used for as a mortgage to avail some loan. In the absence of any asset, they had the problem of finance, to raise the necessary money needed for various occasions, for treatment, for any other purpose. Had these two people had some land, they could have easily got the finance from any source, any formal source. And in the absence of any formal source, what they are obliged to go for informal source. Informal source are money lenders, okay, or employers who often exploit them. They charge very high rate of interest, and that too not annually but monthly. Okay, so a person who is already burdened with financial crisis had to pay extra amount every month as an interest, so that will add to his misery. It will not pull him out of the current situation, but will force him into a situation that is he is found in a debt trap. He has to take a new loan to repay back the old debts. So it creates problem. Then unemployment. They are not properly employed. They are seasonally employed. That is also a reason for poverty in India. Since a person is unemployed, he is not earning, he is not getting money, he is not having, in the absence of livelihood, how can he arrange for the basic things like food, which gives nutrition? If he is not having a job, he will not get money, he will not be able to get good meal. If he is not able to get good meal, again he is malnourished, so there is lack of efficiency. If he is having lack of efficiency, again his capacity or efficiency or stamina to work more is reduced. That ultimately will result in lesser earning, and again he will be in the state of poverty. Okay, that is why it is rightly said a person is poor because he is poor. Since he is poor, he is not able to get proper nutrition, that results in less efficiency results to less work leads to less earning. Okay, size of the family is another issue related to poverty in India. Size of the family, often we find these people, because of illiteracy, because they are illiterate, they are orthodox, they think that more children will help them in their later age, in their old age. Okay, so they keep on reproducing, they keep on giving birth to the number of children. which ultimately increases the size of the family. And most of the time it has been found, or it has been seen, it has been observed that there is one bread earner and number of mouth to be fed. Number of mouths are there that has to be fed, means one person is earning and taking care of all the needs of the family, which again leads to malnourished. Malnourished children whole whole family. Either the children and the guardians all are malnourished, because earning is less and number of mouths to be fed are more. Okay, so I'm just removing all these things. Then illiteracy is absence of or lack of education. Okay, illiteracy means lack of proper they are not properly educated, they are illiterate. Because they are illiterate, they are in a state where they cannot earn more. Had they been a skilled person, okay, a skilled person, skilled edu skill educated person can earn more. He has number of avenues or number of places from where he can earn money. He can start his own business, he can work in a better, he's in a better position if he is educated. The uneducated or undereducated person are never in the power to bargain. They had to accept, or they are in a condition where they have to accept whatever is being offered to them, because of huge population. The number of persons who seek job are more as compared to the jobs. So an illiterate or uneducated person is always forced to accept whatever is being offered, which reduces his earning capacity. And since he is not having, or he is under earning or earning less than what is a decent value, so he is naturally bound to be in a state of poverty. Okay, then other thing that we have seen is poor health and malnutrition. Poor health, obviously, if they are not earning, they are size of the family, that number of people, more number of people are there. Number of, okay, more number of people are there, their income is less. Okay, so they are not able to get minimum nutrition nutrition required for healthy living. In the absence of this one minimum nutrition, obviously their health is going to be in poor state. They are not healthy. Have you ever seen a labor around you who is a very healthy? Or any rickshaw puller or any other person who is doing odd jobs? Have you ever seen that fellow healthy? Huh? I'm sure you must have not seen. Since they are not able to afford good meals or the meals with high nutrition value, their health is poor. Another thing is their living standard. Their living standard is also low. Another point that we can add is low living standard. Then another point is lack of cleanliness. Remember when our current Prime Minister Mr. Narendra Modi, when he came to the power, he launched a program. He started a program that is Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, its key thing is to provide cleanliness or to maintain cleanliness, to provide proper sanitation facilities to the mass, to the community, to the people, so that their health condition can improve. The main aim of that program is to improve the health standard of the country. Okay, so if they are malnourished, they are living in a pathetic condition or living in a condition that is not so healthy, where sanitation facilities are not good, obviously that all things are going to affect their health. Since they are malnourished, their immunity is less. Number of diseases are attracted towards unhealthy or unhygienic conditions. So naturally their health is in bad condition. Then child labor. As I told you just few minutes back, that they are unorthodox. They think or they believe that if they have more children, these children will help them in their old ages. Okay, so their income is low, number of children are more, or the size of the family is more, so the children are bound or are forced to support their family, to help the bread earner get the living. And because of this very reason, you find a number of children, the children of your age, who should be in the classroom studying and working for their better future, are instead working in dhabas, cleaning the utensils, cleaning the leftovers, or at the mechanic shops. Okay, or they are doing arms. Whenever you go out with your families, you can see number of small children. Whenever you go and have something to eat or enjoy, they come and they ask for the same thing. So that is also kind of child labor. They are begging to support their family. They can be found at the streets, at the traffic lights, selling all the small petty things like balloons, like pens, like some other things. That is very common. Why is it? Because they are left with no other choice. They are not privileged like you. Their family income is low, their standard of income is low. To support their family, to get them bread for the family, they have to work at the age where they should be studying. That again leads them or forces them to be in the state of poverty, because they are not educated, they are illiterate, so they do not get any good job. And since they are not able to get any good job, they are forced to do the beggary, the work of a beggar, the work or do some other odd jobs. Helplessness is another point. They are helpless. They are helpless because they are in a condition where they cannot bargain, they cannot fight. There is inability in the condition. They are unable to do the many things or get minimum things required for the survival or for living a good quality life. Then coming to the next point, low standard of living. Low standard of living is because of all these things. To sum up all these things, you'll get the standard of living. You have seen the house of all the laborers. What kind of house they live in? They live in kacha houses, one room house. In that one room they have kitchen, they have drawing room, they have sleeping, everything is bound or they have to do in a single room. That again causes many kind of problems, like problem of cleanliness, no proper drinking facilities or sanitary. At many places in slum areas you can find absence of proper toilets, washrooms, so they go out, or there is a community washroom, they use that, which again increases the risk of infections. So these things force the people or make the people prone to diseases, prone to infections, which reduce their ability to earn more, and because of this they are again found in a state of poverty. Then lack of cleanliness, as the standard of living is low, their houses, their income is low, so they are in a position where they are surrounded by all these things or all the problems which force them to live in a current state of position, not to improve but to just keep on going and going in a state of poverty. So now we had taken these two typical cases illustrate many dimensions of poverty. They show that poverty means hunger and lack of shelter. It is also a situation in which parents are not able to send their children to school, or a situation where sick people cannot afford treatment. Poverty also means lack of clean water and sanitation facilities. It also means lack of regular job at a minimum decent level. So we cannot, to sum up, we cannot only say that poverty is unable to earn more or unable to get minimum requirement of nutrition. Poverty is helplessness. A person who is not able to send his children to school is also considered to living in a state of poverty. A person who is not able to afford treatment for his family member will also be considered or said to be in a state of poverty. In simple words, as I told you, poverty is inability or helplessness. Inability or unable to do or get minimum things requirement, or minimum requirement is caused or is said as poverty, or to be in the state of poverty. There are multiple dimensions. You cannot only say that if a person is not earning, he is in a state of poverty, or person is not able to get good meal, he is in a state of poverty. If he is not able to fulfill the requirements of a patient, he is in a state of poverty. If he is not able to take care of the education of his children, he is in a state of poverty. So it has multiple dimensions. You cannot only say that earning is basic, but it is not the only thing. There are many dimensions, okay, many sides or many things that are taken into consideration before declaring or stating that this person is in a state of poverty. Poor people are in a situation in which they are ill treated at almost every place. In farms, factories, government office, hospitals, railway station, etc. Obviously, no one would like to live in a poverty. So you may have seen or may have witnessed such instances where people are not treated in a decent manner. They are abused, they are exploited, because people know they do not have any other option, and they also know that they do not have any other option, so they just keep quiet. They just bear whatever humiliation is being done to them. I hope, or I'm sure, nobody would like to be in such situation where other person dominate you or humiliate you. One of the biggest challenge of the independent India has been to bring millions of its people out of the abject means absolute poverty, or the poverty which is being prevalent, like inability to get the requirements, or fulfill the requirements or needs of the family, or the situation that they are living in, that is absolute poverty, huh? Mahatma Gandhi always insisted that India would be truly independent only when the poorest of its people become free of human suffering. Human sufferings are all the diseases, inability to get this one food for the family, inability to get proper job, proper money. So we will only develop, or we will only be able to say that our country is progressing when we are able to provide basic facilities or good job, a decent job, earning job to all, almost to the majority of our people in the country. Poverty seen by social scientists. Since poverty has many facets, means multiple dimensions, as I was telling you, the not only earning, or not only not getting proper nutritious food, it has multiple faces, it has multiple facts or multiple dimensions that has to be taken into consideration before saying that, or before establishing poverty. Line of poverty line of poverty, I have already informed you or told you that at various places there are, or various countries, according to the nutritious requirement or according to the capacity, they have maintained a standard. A person, if he is not able to fulfill that standard, then that person is said to be living below the line of poverty. Since poverty has many facets, social scientists look at it through a variety of indicators. Usually the indicators used relate to the levels of income and consumption, but now poverty is looked through other social indicators like literacy level, lack of general resistance due to malnutrition, lack of access to healthcare, lack of job opportunities, lack of access to safe drinking water, sanitation, etc. So as I was telling you, poverty has many dimensions. So what are these dimensions? These are few of the dimensions that we may take it for example, like literacy. How much educated that person is he a graduate, postgraduate, undergraduate, uneducated, school dropout, what is it? Huh? Did the person get elementary education, basic primary education, or he is totally uneducated? Then lack of general resistance due to malnutrition. This is immunity. I am sure you must be very familiar with, because we are living in a era of COVID, and every now and then some person or other keep on chatting or telling about increasing or boosting your immunity, having kala and all these things. So I'm pretty sure you must be knowing about immunity. General resistance is your immunity power. Since these people are uneducated, their earning is low, their condition of living is bad, they do not have proper drinking water, sanitation facilities, so they are more prone to attract diseases, and because of that their health is in a poor condition. So general resistance due to malnutrition. If a person is malnourished, obviously his body is weak, his immune system is weak, and if your immune system is weak, then small diseases can also cause good amount of damage to your health. Lack of access to healthcare. Then since these people are mostly found in a places that is overcrowded, and they do not have money to get treatment in good healthcare facilities, they mostly rely on the government or public healthcare centers, where they are not able to access or get good treatment, the treatment which is required. Many a times We have seen that people who are suffering from chronic diseases and they are not financially strong, so they go and visit or they go and get treated at government health centers where they do not get proper attention or proper health care. Lack of job opportunities, since they are uneducated, undereducated, okay, so they do not get good jobs, or the jobs which gives them decent earning. They are forced to accept whatever is being offered to them. They have to accept the amount or the places where they are being exploited, they are being underpaid. Lack of access to safe drinking water, sanitation, etc. So their standard of living is bad, their earning is low, so they are forced to live in slum areas. Slum areas are often characterized by lack of proper drinking and sanitation facilities. They do not, some many places or many houses do not even have proper toilets or proper uh, tap water connections. So ultimately what happens, they get the water from a community well or community this one hand pump or some other place, so they do not get proper clean drinking water. They do not have RO, aquaguards or filters that we all are used to. Even you all must be having some kind of water purifiers installed at your home. Is that water purifier found at the worker or at the lady who comes to clean your house? Do they have proper toilets like you have? Do they have proper, does their children have the education or the level of education you people are now having? Do they have access to all the good education? Do they have access to good food? Do they have money to enjoy and leisure? I'm sure the answer is no. You all know that. The analysis of poverty based on social exclusion and vulnerability is now becoming very common. So what is this social exclusion? According to this concept, poverty must be seen in terms of poor having to live only in poor surrounding with other poor people. In the beginning of this video, I told you, or I made a statement, a person is poor because he is poor. That is called vicious circle of poverty. A person is poor because he is poor. I told you about, because of being poor he is not able to get good food, or lack of good food result in less nutrition. Less nutrition leads to less efficiency. Less efficiency leads to less earning, and less earning again force him to be in a poor condition. So the same way, poor having to live only in poor surroundings with other poor people. I'm sure no rich person will like to live with a poor person. Excluded from enjoying social equality of better off people in better surroundings, social exclusion can be both a cause as well as consequence of poverty in the usual sense. Vicious circle of poverty again. Since he is a poor, he is bound or he is forced to be with the other poors. Broadly, it is the process through which individual or group are excluded from facilities, benefits and opportunities that others enjoy. Obviously, they are not educated, so they are not in a condition, so they are bound to be living in that particular situation which they are in. They are in the situation because they are in this situation. They are stuck. They have no way out. A typical example is the working of the caste system in India, which people belong to certain castes are excluded from equal opportunities. Social exclusion thus may lead to, but can cause more damage than having a very low income. Then There are certain social evils also, like caste system. Caste system is a social evil. Racism. Okay, people are discriminated on the basis of their caste, their religion, their color, okay, their the language they speak, like North Indians, South Indians, like people belonging to various communities, okay, people belong to high caste and low caste. So this is another reason. This is social evil that is in practice or that is prevalent. Our society is divided into this social groups. A social group of higher order will never let or will always encourage his fellow to come up and always discourage other groups to raise. They will not allow them, or they will create obstacles in the path of lower groups or the group of other lower social order. This is even more dangerous than low earning. Vulnerability to poverty is a measure which describes the greater probability of certain communities, say member of backward caste or individuals such as widow or a physically handicapped person, of becoming or remaining poor in the coming years. Vulnerability is that determined by the options available to different communities for finding an alternative living in the terms of assets, education, health and job opportunities. Further, it is analyzed on the basis of the greater risk these groups face at the time of natural disaster, earthquakes, tsunamis, terrorism, etc. Additional analysis is made of their social and economic ability to handle these risks. In fact, vulnerability describes the greater probability of being more adversely affected than other people when bad times come for everybody, whether a food or flood or an earthquake or simply a fall in the availability of jobs. They are more the people belonging to backward class or the poor section. They are more vulnerable. They are more adversely affected by any calamity or any social problem. For example, don't go far away, don't burden yourself with whatever is being written in black and white. Just remember year 2020 March. That was the beginning of COVID-19 in India. We have seen through newspapers, through televisions, even with our own eyes, what was the condition of laborers working in metro cities. What was the condition of poor, those who do the odd jobs, those who are rickshaw pullers, those who are street hawkers, vendors? What was their condition? They were more adversely affected. Whole world was affected, but their suffering was much higher than ours, yours and mine. They were in much more depressed and in much more severe condition. Okay, so the people who are not in a good condition or who are in poverty, they are the worst sufferers or any calamity or any problem, economic, natural, any kind of problem. They are the worst sufferers of that particular situation. Now, poverty line, in our offline class I have already told you, poverty line is a measurement. It is not a line that is drawn with a scale and a pen. It is just like, you can say, a minimum standards, a minimum standard that has been laid down by the economist, by the society, to distinguish the persons who are living in poverty and those who are not living, or those who are living above the line, above poverty. At the center of discussion on poverty, it is usually the concept of poverty line. A common method to measure poverty is based on the income or consumption level. The most common method is either to take into consideration the income of the person or the consumption, whatever he is using, he is eating, he is consuming. Okay, a person is considered poor if his or her income or consumption level falls below a given minimum level. What is I have been telling you? Poverty is inability to get the minimum. Inability to get the minimum. Then that person is called or said to be living in the state of poverty, necessary to fulfill the basic needs. So we can sum up again. A person is poor if his or her income or consumption level falls below the given minimum level necessary to fulfill the basic needs. In simple, if a person is not able to fulfill his basic needs, he is said to be poor or living below poverty. What is necessary to satisfy the basic need is different at different time and in different countries. What may be necessary for me might not be necessary for you. Okay, so this calculation is always different. That is why the widely accepted one is of nutritious value. How many nutritious what kind of food we eat, how much nutrition we get from the food, this has been taken into consideration. Okay, for example, a car may be a necessity for a person in USA. Okay, if a person is not having a car in USA, he can be said to be in a state of poverty. But in India, it is a luxury. You cannot say a person is not having car, he is in a state of poverty. If you say the person is not having car, is in a state of poverty, I am sure 80% of India is living under poverty. That is not the case. So we cannot say that a material thing is there, on the basis of that material thing a person is living in the state of poverty or he is not living in the state of poverty. We have to broaden our concept or the thing that we have to take into consideration. What is Therefore, poverty line may vary with time and place. Each country uses an imaginary line that is considered appropriate for its existence level of development and its accepted minimum social norm. For example, a person not having a car in the United States may be considered poor. In India, owning a car is still considered a luxury. See what I told you, I gave you an example. The same very example is repeated in the book. Okay. While determining the poverty line in India, and a minimum level of food requirement, clothing, footwear, fuel and light, education and medical requirement, etc. are determined for subsistence, for survival. Okay. So what are the things that we take into consideration in India are minimum level of food requirement, clothing, footwear, fuel and lighting, education and medical requirement. These are some of the things or some of the basic things that we take or consider in India. Like if a person is able to fulfill his food requirement, what kind of dress, what kind of clothes he is wearing, is he walking barefoot or what other things, he is living in a proper lighted place or not, then does he has access to medical and educational facilities. Okay, all these things are basic for survival. Rest we will continue tomorrow in the next class. Thank you.